waiting for a motherboard like you. I've been waiting for this ASRock x570D4U-2L2T to arrive, and it is finally here. So this Ryzen motherboard is pretty freaking cool, and it's got some features that I think you all will be interested in. And the first feature is the onboard graphics. So no longer do you need to step down in your CPU that has integrated graphics, because you can use the onboard graphics to get into BIOS or even operate the operating system. And you don't need a discrete graphics card for when you might need to do some troubleshooting with the operating system and or to get into the BIOS. Furthermore, it also has IPMI port here, which will allow you to access the BIOS through the web UI or the operating system through the web UI as well, using HTML5 or a Java console, which is pretty freaking cool. And speaking of I/O, this also has onboard dual 10 gigabit Ethernet ports with an Intel controller, which is pretty freaking cool and nice to have. So you no longer need an add-in card for that. And next on the list is this LCD readout, which is really cool. So that'll help you do some troubleshooting in the event that it does. And of course it has a speaker, so you can hear when the server reboot, shuts down, or runs into any other kind of issues during boot up. Now let's talk about how the PCI-E lanes are going to be divvied up on this board, because that's pretty important. Ryzen essentially has 24 lanes available to it, and 20 of those lanes are going to be split among the 3 PCI 4.0 expansion slots, and 4 lanes are going to be available to one of the M.2 NVMe drives that you can put in here. And then 4 more lanes are going to be split between the 10 gig networking and the second M.2 NVMe port that is here. Now, you will experience some bandwidth limitations if you plan to use the 10 gig networking and M.2 drive in conjunction with each other. How severe that will be, I'm not 100% sure, but that's something you should know if you plan to use both of the onboard NVMe M.2 slots. The top PCI expansion slot here has a full 16 lanes available to it, and it can be bifurcated, which basically means that you can take the 16 lanes and divide it into 4 lanes. So what that means is if you have something like an ASUS expansion card that has 4 NVMe M.2 drives that you can stick into it, each one of these NVMe drives is going to get 4 lanes to itself, and that's going to go into that top slot there. So in theory, you won't lose a lot of bandwidth. And what's really cool about this is PCI 4.0. So if you have some really freaking fast NVMe drives, there's some pretty cool things that you can do with RAID zeros, I'm sure. I don't know how many lanes are available to the middlemost one. I'm going to guess 4 lanes. And then the bottom one here is going to have 8 lanes available to it. And I didn't see a way to reduce the number of lanes or bifurcate that. Only the top lane is able to do any bifurcation. Out of the box, this did not work with my Ryzen 5800X, which was kind of to be expected because this is for the Ryzen 3000 series. However, after a BIOS update, I was finally able to get the 5800X to work with this, and the way I applied that update was actually using the web UI through the BMC, because it booted up to a black screen and I had no way of interacting with the BIOS through the integrated graphics or also through the BMC console. Don't know why, but it was just straight up black and there's really nothing I can do about it. But we managed to push through that. Now in the BIOS itself, there are a ton of different things that you can configure, but I think the things that we will be most interested in is actually overclocking the RAM, and there are tons of options for that. Now, I wasn't able to successfully overclock either of these sticks of RAM. This is G.Skill Trident Z, this is 3200 megahertz RAM, and this is Corsair Dominator Platinum. Now, there are plenty of options to get in there and mess with the cast latency and all the other little timings to make things perfect. I don't have time with that. I just tried to manually set it to 3200 megahertz and save, but those settings would never stick, unfortunately. So if you have more time, you could probably figure that out on your own. That's not something that I'm going to take the time to do. If it doesn't work, that's okay. I'm just going to let the RAM run at whatever its slowest speed is, and that should be good enough because, again, this is for a server, not for maximum performance for gaming. There are also options to overclock the CPU as well as the SC clock, so you could really hone in your RAM timings with your Infinity Fabric to really make or to really give you the maximum performance out of this thing if you cared about that stuff. One other thing I found in the BIOS that I thought was really cool and wanted to share with you guys was the number of sensors that is on this BIOS, which is really, really, really cool. We have temperature for motherboard, we have temperature for the card side, CPU temperature, onboard LAN temperature, x570 chipset temperature. I mean, the list just goes on and on. I didn't do a good job of showing you everything that's available, but trust me, it's a long list of sensors. Lastly, I just want to cover a few more of the ports that you will find on this motherboard. It has 6 ports for fans. So if you need a lot of fans, this will support up to 6. Interestingly, in the BIOS, all of the fans are named system fan as opposed to chassis and CPU fan, which I found pretty odd. I plugged my CPU fan into fan 3, which is just below the 24-pin connector and to the right of the actual RAM slots. And well, it worked. It was running at about 1300 RPM, which I wouldn't consider to be anything remotely close to high. So that was nice to see. It also has 7 SATA ports. I don't know what controller controls this. I could not find any information online. So I'm just going to take a wild guess and assume that they are Marvell controllers. That is pretty typical from ASRock motherboards if the pass is anything to be used from here. So if you are using unraid, that could be a problem for you. Hopefully you have an HBA card that will that you could use for all of your hard drives. It has a SATA DOM port, which I've never used. I'm not 100% sure what that even does or allows you to do, but it does have one of those, and it has a USB 3.0 header on here, which is actually really nice to see for a server board. And I think that pretty much wraps up all of the most interesting things. If you guys are curious at all to know more about this motherboard, I would highly recommend checking out servetheHome.com for more information about that. Link below, by the way. And they'll get into all the nitty-gritty details that you can read about on their site. I will be using this motherboard for an upcoming build, so make sure you guys stick around and check that out, because I think that'll be pretty interesting. It'll be going in my unraid server. And with that, I want to thank you all for watching, and I will see you next time.